Hey guys, and welcome to the first ever Bootgum episode. My name is Chris and I'm really excited that you could be here for it. Probably more excited than you, but in a couple of years' time we can all look back at this and say, man, this channel certainly has come a really, really long way. I'm glad I could be there for the beginning of it. But look, welcome. I wanted to save the first episode for something really kind of special, and I have been really excited about my new phone showing up last week, the iPhone XS. Now, I wanted to pick up the iPhone simply because I love the camera system on it. I was upgrading from the iPhone 7, so this is the first time I had access to like that dual camera setup. I love taking photos with phones. I've been doing it for a really, really, really long time. I'm the kind of guy who rocks up at a party with his Sony, mirrorless camera, massive lens on it, because I never want to miss a moment. Having a good camera on a phone for me is incredibly, incredibly important. For anyone who doesn't remember, like 10 years ago, back when I was in university, the iPhone, the way they marketed it changed a lot of things. Like, we always had these sort of specialty phones that were good at certain things. We had phones with keyboards that you could use like a computer, especially for text message and email. We had Walkman phones. Sony Ericsson had a line of Walkman phones that were dedicated to playing music. Fun fact, my Sony W880i doesn't have a headphone jack. It's a Walkman phone without a headphone jack. You had to plug in the Sony brand headphones into the adapter. You could also plug in like the power cable through the adapter, or you could put in a headphone jack adapter. So before Apple were removing headphone ports, Sony beat them to the punch. On a phone that was supposed to be a portable music player, they removed the headphone jack. But look, I picked it up because I really love what Sony were doing. I've always been a Sony fanboy. So that's the Walkman phone, but Sony Ericsson also had a line of CyberShot camera phones. So I always had a Sony camera with me. I was always taking like photos of my friends and family, and being able to do that on a phone, it kind of blew my mind. I love the idea of having a phone that could work as like a media device. And for me, the iPhone is arguably, it's not even arguable. The iPhone pretty much is the best media creation device on the planet. The cameras built in are fantastic. The video capabilities are, you can take it with you anywhere you go. You can snap these fantastic videos. You can create photos, images, as well as audio. Audio was a really big thing for me with the iPhone as well. I love the microphone built into this thing, and the voice recorder app is really, really powerful. I often come in here, this is where I do a lot of my recording. I often come in here to record my voice onto an iPhone. If I'm working on an app video for a startup company, if I'm doing some voiceover work myself, if I'm working on a video and I just want to quickly lay down the script or the track to get an idea of how long the video is going to be, how it's going to sound, how it's all going to come together, then I will, more often than not, just bust out my iPhone, use the voice memo app, plug the iPhone into my computer, and I can bring those files over into iTunes, which will then import really seamlessly into Final Cut Pro. It's a really good system, and you can not only just record audio using the microphone, using that voice memo app, you can edit your audio track as well. So while I'm recording that audio, I can stop it, I can rewind, I can record over bits, I can cut bits out. I can basically bring a finished audio track onto my computer without having to bust out any dedicated recording gear. Final Cut Pro for me has been a bit of a game changer. I've always used Premiere Pro for my video editing. I'm now using both systems depending on the project, depending on how fast I need to be at it, and depending on what features I think are best for the project at hand. But Final Cut Pro is really well integrated now into the operating system. I haven't touched Final Cut since version 7, but I'm now running Final Cut Pro 10, and the way you can just import files from different folders, from your photo libraries, from your music libraries. I've got playlists set up in iTunes specifically for stock music. I've got folders set up in my photo library for phone video, for phone footage, for stuff coming off my iPhone. It just makes the iPhone, to me, so much more valuable for capturing some of that media because it's so easy to bring into your projects. So when I tell people that I upgraded to the XS, I copped a little bit of flack from family and friends. They know I'm an Apple fanboy. They love rubbing my nose in it. I often get like the why? Why would you even bother upgrading? Your phone is still perfectly fine. I have just sold my iPhone 7 and I sold it for about $430 here in Australia. The Apple devices hold their value, and that is why I don't hesitate picking up a new one, because I can sell the old one. And in terms of having it on a contract, like, you still have to pay for your phone, you're not getting it for free. But in terms of resale value, you still get a big chunk of money back at the end of your contract. So I don't think any other phone matches how valuable that iPhone will be at the end of your contract. The camera has always been really consistent. I keep going back to that. And that's one big reason why I like having the iPhone, and why I continue to use the iPhone, is because the experience has always been really consistent. If I'm out there with my kids playing around and I've only got like one chance to capture a photo or get a bit of video, I want to have an iPhone with me, because I know that photo, that video, it's going to look good, it's going to be in focus, and it's going to let me look back and be nostalgic. It's going to let me easily transfer that photo, that video over to my computer. I can easily use it in some of my other projects. Even if you are recording some client stuff, it's really easy while you're recording a case study or a testimonial or an interview to pick up some B-roll footage, to pick up even some behind the scenes snaps that your client can post on Facebook or on social, just to say, hey, we're doing this really cool thing. Here are a few behind the scenes footage or snaps. Stay tuned for the whole video coming out soon. It's just really, it's a powerful device to have in your pocket. It sells really well at the end of the day, and it is really well integrated into Final Cut Pro. All fantastic reasons why I like the iPhone. But look, obviously every phone's gonna have their ups and downs. I'm not saying the iPhone's better than any other phone. It just suits my needs really well, and I wanted to talk about that and how I use the iPhone and the sort of value that I get out of the iPhone. But, you know, leave a comment if you agree, leave a comment if you disagree, share this video with your grandparents, let you know you've got great taste on YouTube. This is the first ever episode for the Bootgum YouTube channel, so thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you stopping by, and I really hope that you do come back. Cheers.